Hello, friend. Welcome to this powerful hypnotic track created to help you loosen the habit of judgment, that quiet, automatic need to measure and compare. You can listen whenever you want to unwind, reflect, or simply rest. So, find a comfortable space to get cozy and let your mind and body begin to settle. Judgment is a first order attempt to create safety by controlling uncertainty through evaluation. The mind believes that by labeling everything good or bad, right or wrong, me, them, it can maintain clarity and avoid danger. But this habit reinforces the very insecurity it's meant to prevent. The more one divides, the more separate and unsafe one feels. The attempted solution, control through analysis, is the problem loop. Get cozy and comfy. We're going to start the hypnosis here in a few moments. But in the meantime, there's a part of you that's always trying to make sense of everything. It names, compares, ranks, like a librarian sorting reality into neat little boxes. It wants to know what's right, what's wrong, what's safe, what's not. That part works hard, harder than anyone ever notices. It started with good intentions. A long time ago, judgment was how you stayed safe. By measuring the world, you learned where to step, what to trust, who to be. But over the years, that skill, that vigilance, began to turn inward, and what once protected you started to confine you. Because the mind can only measure what it already understands. And life keeps offering more than that. So it doubles down, sorting, naming, controlling, hoping to feel certain again. But certainty costs connection, and control costs peace. You can feel that cost sometimes, the quiet fatigue beneath all the evaluating, the subtle loneliness of never just being. That's not failure. That's the limit of an old strategy. And tonight, friends, that strategy can finally rest. You don't have to stop the mind. You just don't have to believe it's the only way to know. Because there's another kind of knowing. Softer. Deeper. That doesn't divide the world to understand it. It embraces it whole. So as you listen, you can let that part of you, the one that tried to help too much, begin to loosen its grip. Not by force, but by kindness. By remembering that clarity doesn't come from control. It comes from the silence that follows letting go. And somewhere inside that silence, something wiser than judgment is already waiting. All right, let's begin our descent into clarity. You've spent so long trying to understand, to see clearly, to make sense of what happened, what's happening, and what might happen next. But clarity doesn't arrive through effort. It arrives through softening, through noticing what's here before the mind defines it. So let's begin with that noticing. Get cozy and comfy and take a slow breath in. And feel the simple weight of your body being held. You don't have to earn that support. It's already here. As you exhale, let the shoulders drop. The jaw slacken. The eyes grow a little heavier. The body knows how to relax when the mind allows it. Notice the rhythm of breathing, a subtle tide rising and falling. Every inhale gathers awareness. Every exhale releases control. There's nothing you need to get right. There's no correct way to let go. Let the body breathe however it wants, and the mind can follow its lead. As you drift, I wonder if you can imagine the librarian of the mind beginning to rest. Stacks of labels fading into quiet light. Shelves of categories dissolving like mist at sunrise. All that remains is presence, unfiled, unnamed. Even thoughts that try to judge the process, am I doing this right, can simply be seen and allowed to pass. The witness doesn't argue, it just notices. Notice the texture of this moment, the temperature of the air on your skin, the faint hum behind the silence, the pulse steady in your chest. These are not things to evaluate. They simply are. And as you rest in that awareness, you might sense that clarity is not a spotlight that narrows down. It's an opening that widens. A field of calm where nothing has to be sorted. Each breath draws you deeper into that field, not down or away, but inward, toward the quiet center, where judgment loses its urgency, where the need to know relaxes into the ease of simply being. You can imagine yourself standing in a clear pool of water, the surface smooth as glass. Each breath sending gentle ripples outward. Nothing to fix, nothing to explain, just reflection, stillness, depth. And as you notice that stillness, the mind may begin to slow its spinning, like a wheel easing to rest after a long journey. There's relief in that slowing, a sense that you're finally allowed to stop steering. Here, awareness doesn't have to choose sides. It can hold contradiction without tension. It can see both light and shadow and recognize them as one movement. This is the descent into clarity, not a descent into sleep, but into a softer, wider seeing. Each word, each breath is another step away from the courtroom, another step toward the open sky. Somewhere in the quiet, the courtroom of the mind begins to take shape again, not as punishment, just habit. The judge steps forward, calm, certain, carrying its books of rules. It means well. It always has. Listen to its rhythm. You should have known better. You could have done more. They shouldn't have said that. Each phrase a gavel striking the table of your heart, and yet the sound echoes into nothing because now something deeper is listening. There's another presence here, the one who watches even the judge. It doesn't argue, it doesn't defend, it simply sees. Let that seeing widen now. You don't need to silence the judge. Let it speak, let it tire, let it dissolve, because the moment you witness it, it begins to soften. Notice the thoughts. They're wrong. I failed. This shouldn't be happening. Notice the thoughts. Each observation melts the structure a little more. The judge cannot survive being understood. Its power lies in being believed. When you see it clearly, it has nothing left to protect. You might notice the body responding, a slow exhale, a small warmth in the chest. That warmth is the space the judge once filled. It's what returns when you stop persecuting yourself. Let the witness breathe that space wider. With each breath, judgment fades into light. You may even imagine the judge looking up and realizing it too has been judged unfairly. That was only fear wearing robes of authority. Now imagine stepping toward that figure. You meet its eyes, ancient, tired, human. And as you do, something inside whispers, "Thank you. You can rest now." See the gavel fall one last time, gently. No verdict, only silence. In that silence, awareness opens like a door. Behind it, the world looks less divided. Shades of gray where there used to be black and white. Soft edges where once there were walls. Notice what it feels like to stand in that place, a mind unarmed, a heart unguarded, the witness steady, luminous, kind. Stay there a little longer. Let the rhythm of thought rise and fall, and the witness remain unmoved. No thought can stain the one who sees it. As you rest, the system that once fed on control begins to reorganize around trust. A second order change. Not a new strategy, but a new relationship with the old one. The judge's effort was always to keep you safe. Now safety comes not from verdicts, but from visibility, from seeing everything clearly and refusing to turn it into war. Every breath confirms it. You are the space in which judgment appears and disappears. And that space cannot be harmed. So let the witness keep watching. Let the mind keep softening, and in that widening stillness, begin to feel the faint hum of peace returning, Not forced, not earned, simply revealed. There's a moment after the gavel falls when the whole room seems to breathe again. The walls of the courtroom dissolve, and what remains is open sky. You can feel that sky gently in your chest, a widening, a gentle brightness spreading from the center outward. For the first time in a long time, there's nothing to defend, nothing to prove. Let that sense of openness move through you, like light filtering through water. Every breath expands the heart a little further, as if it's remembering what space feels like. In this space, the mind's categories begin to meet each other. The right and the wrong. The should have and the shouldn't have. The light and the shadow. They look at each other and recognize that they were never enemies, only twins separated by misunderstanding. You might sense these opposites bowing to one another, the proud and the humble, the certain and the unsure, the strong and the afraid, each one softening in the presence of its reflection. And as they bow, something within you clicks into alignment, a harmony deeper than agreement. It feels like warmth returning to a limb that had gone numb. At first, it's a tingle, then a pulse, then flow. Let that flow move freely now, from the heart outward into the shoulders, down the arms, into the hands. The warmth of compassion reaching every place that once held tension from judgment. Notice the color of this warmth, maybe gold or rose or something beyond color altogether. It doesn't matter. What matters is the felt truth. That clarity and kindness can coexist, that understanding and love are not opposites. They are the same current seen from different angles. The heart knows this. It always has. It was simply waiting for the mind to pause long enough to listen. Now the two can rest together, mind resting inside heart. Heart held within awareness. Awareness wide enough for everything. And as they settle, you may feel a quiet gratitude rise on its own. No reason, no target, just gratitude itself. The body's way of saying yes to belonging again. Stay here, breathing in the fullness of it, breathing out whatever remnants of control still linger, each exhale making more room for life. Here even the past is welcomed, the mistakes, the misunderstandings, the moments of pride or pain. They all shimmer in this light, and they lose their sharpness. They were all trying to teach you the same thing, how to see without dividing. This is the reunion of opposites, the heart reclaiming everything, the mind exiled. A return to wholeness so natural, it doesn't need to be earned. It only needs to be remembered. Let that remembrance sink deeper now. Every beat of the heart echoing the same truth. Nothing in you is against you anymore. In the days ahead, you may notice a new kind of quiet inside. The mind still comments as minds do, but its voice lands softer, lighter, like wind through tall grass instead of hammers on stone. When a judgment arises, you'll recognize its old face and you'll smile because now you can see what it's trying to do: to protect, to define, to keep things safe. You don't need to fight it, you only need to notice it. The noticing itself is freedom. It's like watching a wave lift and fall without needing to hold the ocean still. You may begin to find that choices come easier. You still discern, you still see what fits and doesn't, but there's no harsh edge to it. Discernment without the poison of comparison. Clarity that doesn't wound. Imagine moving through your day like that, in conversation, in traffic, in your own reflections, meeting each moment as if it were a guest instead of a test. Each person, each emotion, each surprise, something to be understood, not ranked. Even the voice of self-criticism, when it visits, can be met with a simple, calm acknowledgement. I see you. Thank you for trying to help. You can rest. That phrase alone rebalances the system from control to compassion. And every time you practice this seeing, the pathways of judgment grow quieter. The pathways of understanding grow stronger. Neurons, like old friends, relearning how to speak kindly. The more you rest in that awareness, the more natural it feels to choose presence over verdict. Because life doesn't need your approval to be beautiful. It only needs your attention. So let that be your new rhythm. Attention before evaluation. Connection before control. A mind that observes, a heart that includes, an awareness that trusts itself to adapt moment by moment. And as this becomes familiar, the world itself begins to feel less like a hierarchy and more like a field, everything belonging, no one above, no one below, no one unworthy of grace. This is how you live without ranking, not by blinding the mind, but by anchoring it in the larger intelligence of the heart. From there, every judgment dissolves into clarity, and clarity flows effortlessly into love. Take a slow breath and sense that future already unfolding. Not a distant goal, but a natural next step. You are already walking it. Every time you remember to pause before deciding, to breathe before reacting, to feel before labeling. And the more you live this way, the less you'll need to judge at all. Because the one who needed to rank everything has learned to rest in trust. The courtroom is empty now. No one waiting to be sentenced, no one pleading for forgiveness, only light slanting across the floor, and the faint echo of peace settling into place. You can feel that same light returning inside you. A quiet radiance spreading through the ribs, through the shoulders, through the space between the eyes. Notice how the breath has changed, slow, even effortless. Notice how the mind feels, not blank, but spacious. It can think again, but it doesn't need to. The judge rests, the witness smiles, and the body begins to wake, still carrying the calm of what it just learned. As you breathe in, bring a little more awareness into the edges of your body, the hands, the feet, the contours of the face, Those are the borders where spirit meets the world. As you breathe out, feel those borders soften so that awareness and the world can meet without fear. You may notice faint sounds around you, the hum of the room, the breath, the rhythm of life resuming. Let them call you gently back. Each sound, each breath, a reminder that clarity doesn't vanish when the eyes open. It travels with you, quiet, steady, waiting behind every thought. Begin to move now, just a little, maybe a small stretch of the fingers and the neck, as if your whole being were saying, "Yes, I'm ready." And as you move forward into the rest of your day or night, carry that clarity with you, light as breath, strong as peace, clear as the sky that's been waiting behind every thought you've ever had. And one final thought as you melt into this idea. There's having a desire for something, and then there's having the intention of the desire. And you can allow yourself to intend to be free of judgment. Thank you for listening.